Man. All right. Peace, and blessings. Hakia, me here, the Success Scholar. Let me try that song, see if I can hear myself. Shoot. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Yeah, I wanted to do this conversation. Hakia, me here, the Success Scholar. Man, I just did a 28-minute video, and the whole thing didn't come on, so I'm gonna do this again. I think that this is so important, and that's just I mean, I don't know what could have happened, but I hope that this is working. But can somebody please let me know that you hear me? I want to get this done here before I do this again. I wanted to make sure this is done, but please, if you can hear me, just say yes, or put a thumbs up, please, if you hear me. But let me just kind of get this going. I go, I wanted to do this conversation, y'all. Hakia me here, the Success Scholar. That may not know me, I'm from Maryland area, DC, Baltimore, Prince George County. All that, just kind of making things happen. Mostly, definitely Baltimore. Let me just be clear. But so a lot of good things going on. Many people may not know that just how I get down in terms of studying, how I study some unique areas of understanding and things that we need to be aware of, and how much depth I actually have. And I don't try to talk about everything all the time, but I do have a good grasp of some unique topics and people and personalities that I think that are critical for my survival and your survival and all of our survival. And so with that being said, recently, for those who may not know, Dr. Laila Imhotep Africa recently made his transition. Now, he was 74 years old, and I've known him for a significant amount of years, not personally one-on-one anything, but through going to various lectures between DC and Baltimore and New York. I think King Simon may have brought him to New York once or twice. I may have gone there. Not shout out to King Simon, but so it was a surprise to find out that he had transitioned. He had transitioned maybe 3-4 days ago. I posted it, and I shared how he wasn't. I don't believe he's from Baltimore, but I certainly know he's spent some time here because he used to share stories of being in Baltimore, and I certainly know that he has family here because his nephew, I believe, brother Andre, they have the smoothie stand in Pennsylvania, North Avenue. So, and obviously I haven't been able to see them over the past couple of days, but I wanted to really just add on to this discussion because I think it's unique that we need to just raise the question of the severity of the times that we live in, and we have to know the power and the quality of the people that we have around us, the depth of the individual scholars that we have in our presence, the depth of the healers that we have around us, and we, of course, giving our honor to the ancestors and our bosom, and just understanding that of course there are laws and principles that are bigger than us, and of course we have we do rise into ascension into other worlds and other understandings, and we have different belief systems in our African sojourn here in the world. And so I'm not locked into any particular period in my understanding. And so, but with that being said, I didn't want to jump to conclusions, and I didn't want to sound, you know, hyperbole with any assumptions or anything. But I wanted to raise this issue. I was just laying there the other day, and I was just thinking to myself, you know, Dr. Africa wouldn't leave us at this particular time. 74 years old. I've had patients. Many people know, of course, they worked in the medical field, had interactions with several different patients in hospitals and things of this nature. But for Dr. Africa to be 74 years old, I just don't think that we have to really begin to look at that, and particularly around this time, understanding that you know how some people in power actually think. They're always looking at who could really have the credibility that people would listen to in the world, and particularly in the Black world, the healing world. Some years ago, I went to an amazing, a powerful conference. Let me think. It was called the African Healers Conference. This was in DC, African Spiritual Healing Conference, and this was several of the top healers from all over the world. I mean, this is really powerful. This was really a powerful one time, type of an event. And it was unique because there were some other ethnic groups there, and they just said if this had been, a Chinese healing event, or a say a Middle Eastern or some other you know global ethnic group or tribe, there would be media fanfare. So the reality and my insights from that was that they do not respect our medicinal tradition, although some of the powers that be, they go, for instance, and try to extract the raw natural resources to make various type of medicine, or mimic the natural medicines, and make them into various antidotes, if you will, or various drugs. Uh, that's the kind of experience and background that I'm kind of coming up in. And so I've seen several different patients, and I've even had heroin addicts that were 75 years old. So, I'm just like, in my rational mind, I'm just like, how could Dr. Africa only live to be 74 years old? Many people may not, ask these questions, and I just can't, believe that. And even, Dr. Sabi, and I don't want to sound like, he couldn't, these people are immortal to leave us in the physical, but I'm just like, at this particular time, it's just, something that we need to ask some questions. And if there could be an autopsy done, I would hope that someone somewhere could raise that as a particular question. So, with that being said, I wanted to really expand this conversation. Being that I know Dr. Africa's family, of course, in the Baltimore area. And I hope that they, respect my, wisdom and my timeliness of this. And I would not have done this video if I did not know that yesterday, the 25th, Dr. Credo Baba Hila, Credo Mutwa, made his transition. Man, so Credo Mutwa was in South Africa. Now, let me just give you all his bio. Um, uh, Credo Mutwa, another name, Vusamala Zulu. Vusamala Zulu was a Zulu Sagamo, a traditional healer from South Africa. He was known as the author of books that draw upon African mythology, tradition, Zulu folklore, extraterrestrial encounters, and his own personal encounters. His last work was a graphic novel called The Tree of Life Trilogy, based upon his writings of his most famous book, Indaba. And I recall some years ago, Indaba meant the great sit down, if I may. So his book is called Indaba, My Children. In 2018, he was honored with a USIBA award presented by the South African Department of Arts and Culture for his work in indigenous wisdom. So it's interesting that you come to, I mean, he wasn't there in 2010. I'm gonna find out when that was. It had to maybe it had to been like 2010, but Credo called himself a Sanusi. Sanusi, common spelling is Ins, which is a type of Zulu diviner or Sangama. The term stems from a more historic time and is not widely used today, even in traditional setting. Credo lived with his wife, Virginia, in Kurama, where they ran a hospice clinic, right? So I'm looking at Wikipedia, but you all can look him up in terms of, all of the great work that he's done. I knew of his work, several sources, but the most prominent was from David Icke, in other terms. He, for the most part, studies many different things about the global forces of the world and extraterrestrials and things of this nature, and healing and many different things. And so, but let me just kind of bring this back to relevancy in terms of the bigger picture of would these higher powers feel that these individuals are threats. It could be my speculation, could be just my, within such a short amount of time, and having a medical background, and having a generalized understanding of African traditional health and healing, and reading Dr. Africa's books. Of many people know Dr. Africa's work, from the Nutricide book to African holistic health. So that's the connection that I'm making between himself and Mutwa. But interesting, uniquely to that, is that as I'm continuing to grow, I felt the need to just raise this as a question. But I'm also the other day I was getting into Dr. Nancy Banks' book, and I've been posting both of these books, AIDS, Opium, Diamond, and Empire. Now, I read this book. This is copyrighted in 2010. I read this book, I don't know when, but I saw Dr. Banks when she came to Baltimore some years ago. I don't believe she's in the country any longer. I emailed her. I don't know if I wanted to interview her some time ago or something. Maybe I did interview her. I can't recall, but I know I reached out to her, and she said she was not in the United States. But she's a Harvard-trained Harvard-trained medical doctor as well. She's done some phenomenal work, in many different areas. But she talks about the free markets and the destruction of national sovereignty and the process of globalization, and how all of this affects our health and our immunity. But, I take this particular book. Let me show you, everybody. AIDS, Opium, Diamond, Empire. and empire, the deadly virus of international greed. Now, why did she call the deadly virus of international greed? She used the term virus. This is prophetic, I mean, understanding what she knew about warfare and understanding, what she knew about empire, opium, and diamonds. And, essentially she was talking, in here she talks about the diamonds and the Oppenheimers. And so it was just interesting because I was going to go back through this book and how she discusses immune health in this book, and how our immune systems are being compromised on different levels. So between this book and Dr. Harriet Washington's work, and I'm gonna, over the next few days, I'm really gonna take some time to really dig deep into these. But I just want to get these out because I don't necessarily do this all the time. This is not, my academic path is, or my speak role as a speaker. I've been blessed to have had the time to interact with some brilliant individuals. So I feel the need to do this live and share it with key individuals for you all to share this with somebody who may be an investigative journalist, who may want to do some research of their own on this virus, and kind of get the pieces together. And I don't know that perhaps that these things, Dr. Afrika's death and Elder Mutwa's death, may not necessarily be related to this virus, but we cannot rule these things out. So I would ask for an autopsy, certainly. But with that being said, of course, I want everybody, yes, definitely to get the book Medical Aparthied, Dr. Harriet Washington. But as I generally, when I do a book review, I kind of just go through some of the chapters, and she talks about, she has some few addendums in here, and she shows how some of the pharmaceuticals give revenue to various parties, a significantly more amount to the Republican Party, interestingly. So matter of fact, a whole lot more to the Republican Party. So according to this 1997-99, yeah, a significant amount. So that's always fascinating to know. But interesting. One of her chapters, chapter 5, and matter of fact, let me mention a few of the chapters. The brothers Flexner, allopathic medicine, lessons learned from the British East Indian Company, HIV and AIDS, sloppy science or art of deception, chapter 5, the deindustrialization of the economic core, more immune toxins, how China fits into the big picture, and a death knell for the dollar hegemony. Jackie's old men, talking about Onassis, the one who married to the president. Drugs, diamonds, and oil for empire. Talk about Templeton and Interesting. U.S., Israeli, African geopolitical strategy. Kissinger, Nixon, China, Vietnam, drugs, cancer, and HIV connection deep. I read this some years ago, y'all. That's all. I'm not, perpetrating here. Iran-Contra and the politics of neighborhood destruction and the cultural disintegration, oxidized stressors, and African AIDS. That's important. And this is another important chapter. What causes immune deficiency? So that's pretty important. Pretty important. I'm sorry, I got some new glasses, and they got these new little things where you look down and you're supposed to be able to read, but I don't know if it's working. But I just wanted to read this little part. Let's see. Was it here? Yeah. Okay. And I'm not going to be long here. Human beings evolved an immune protective bioenergetic system over millions of years. The system was designed to cope with bacteria, parasites, viruses, solar radiation, and the waste products of our daily turnover of 10 cells. We have survived plagues, famines, wars, and bad governments. The question remains about the survival from the central bankers and their globalized technological corporate state unfettered by local controls of the democratic process. It is a sinister force that is bent on a total defilement of the Mother Earth. Of the 100 largest economic units, 49 are countries and 50 are corporations. The parasite is in control of the Earth's host. So she used the term parasite again. So as a medical doctor trained at Harvard, she's used these terms talking about virus and parasites and describing global corporations and their role of control. And, let me just give you this example, and I'm not trying to get you buy books. I'm not trying to get you buy herbs. I mean, although, I did just get a Vitamix to really get to understanding that, we need to juice more. We need to, get our immune system strong, of course. We need to realize that, this world is toxic and many different things are causing these toxic environments. And this book does definitely break some of these things down really in a very, very informed way. So I would encourage you all to cross-reference this with other things and let's have a conversation. Do reach out to me on Instagram, Success Scholar, as well as Twitter, Success Scholar 1 on Twitter. But and do definitely share this video. But I wanted everybody to really get a good understanding of or a basic understanding of what's going on with this virus. I posted a video that talks about the history of viruses. Once upon a time on the planet, there were not these viruses, and before humans began to domestically cultivate and then eat animals that they slept with or whatever, that they were cultivating inside of their houses. And so what's happening is that there's a lot of bacteria and viruses that are being created through the consumption and through the cohabitation, and domestication of animals. So that I posted that. It made a lot of sense. I mean, it really goes back to some of my understandings of human anatomy and human anatomy and physiology, and how our bodies, many of us, we have weakened immune systems. And these so-called tests that people are talking about. I mean, people was asking how these people are getting tested and all this other stuff. So we have to really begin to look at this, and I can't pinpoint the fallacy of these tests, and the politics around them, the imagery and the perception. But I certainly would encourage us. There certainly need to be a push. This just shows there needs to be a push towards more healthy, holistic lifestyles first and foremost, and of course cleanliness. I mean that should certainly go without saying. Many cultures certainly have had troubles with cleanliness, of course, that we are aware of. If we studied history, there were many great periods in history that some cultures did not, actually use good sanitation. So, and they paying a price for that, and they have paid a price for that. But I would encourage everybody definitely to have to get this book, but um, as well as look at the connection of these global powers. And I felt the need to just raise these issues, raise these different individuals, raise up these books that somebody's going to watch this 10, 15 years from now somewhere on YouTube land, if there is a YouTube land, and someone's going to say, that's a significant book, right? Don't look at the messenger, but you can look at the messenger if you want to, because I've read the books, and I have a halfway decent medical background to where you can, of course, discern. Do I have the basic understandings of history, of politics, of economics, as well as do this serious book, have that foundation. And so, unfortunately, many of the teachers of today, even the black so-called educated class, the mainstream media, the black media, if you will, have failed. For instance, they haven't. None of them. I haven't seen nobody have reach out to try to track down Dr. Nancy Banks or even Dr. Harriet Washington, both who are Harvard educated medical doctors, right? Why isn't, for instance, Roland Martin not, hasn't necessarily tracked down these sisters? So again, we have to understand that not everybody are going to be intellectually free. There's a book called Intellectual Warfare, and unfortunately, many of the individuals are um, who are disconnected from they're not intellectually free or not even intellectually curious to want to know what's going on. So it's a lonely road, on many levels, to really dig that deep into things. Even some of these health people, I'm talking about Dr. Africa. What you talking about? Some Dr. Africa, what he know? What he know about health? I'm a RN, you know. These people out here trying to teach you about some health and wellness and talking about the virus. So I'm just like, man, so this is why, for instance, this is why persons like myself, you got to step up. You got to know when it's your time to step up. And, I'm going to dig more into this AIDS, opium, diamonds, and empire. Matter of fact, I'm going to post it and see who says anything, but man, I got people that's like actually dead. I mean, many people haven't said nothing about it when I've been posting this book. I'm like, are you scared? I'm like, what's going on? Let me go ahead and take another picture. Maybe they didn't read the words or something. I don't know. Let me go ahead. But so again, rest in peace to my elders. Rest in peace to my elders. Job well done. My ancestors, Dr. Africa, Baba Credo Mutwa. So just like to, do some special libations for both of them for the job that they've done, regardless of the outcomes of anything that that uh, may have happened. They've done a phenomenal work. Your words, your life lives on through myself and through other great healers. All warriors are healers, so we have to recognize that. So you can't be a so-called warrior if you don't understand the great healing tradition. We have responsibility to heal with our mind and our words, to speak good words of encouragement, of happiness, of peace, right? And that's our role in the world. So that's where I am. But we also have to understand, we have a Shaka Zulu, South African defense systems that needs to be understood, appreciated, and acknowledged. So if that's all I have to say, I think I covered a little bit of everything. Haki me, success, guys. Stay connected. Do share, like, and subscribe. Share, like, and subscribe. I'm out.